Now, swim drills are designed to help our swimming and to improve our technique, but, and there is a big but, if you're doing the wrong drills or performing them incorrectly, they could in fact be slowing you down. Okay, so we're taking a slightly different tack to today's video. We're going to be running through drills that you should be avoiding, how you may be performing drills incorrectly, and of course, how to make sure that you do perform them correctly and get the most out of them. Right, on to the first one. Right, this is actually probably one of my favorite drills, partly because it's probably one of the easier drills to perform, but with that also comes some issues because it often is performed incorrectly. Now, the catch-up drill is essentially one single arm stroke, another single arm stroke on the other side, and then a pause or catch-up at the front of the stroke. Now, this is where the issues arise because there is a temptation to slap your hand down and kind of overemphasize that catch-up part of the stroke. Also, you'll see that my hands are either on top of one another or there is a temptation to bring them right next to each other and touch one another. And then also, because we're trying to get this catch-up, we can overemphasize this glide at the front and actually end up with dead spots in the stroke and really promote those dead spots, which is not what we want. Now, obviously, we don't need to be slapping our hands down into the water, and also we don't need the hands to be touching one another. In fact, when we're swimming front crawl, full stroke, our hands should be entering in line with our shoulders, and it's the rotation that brings our hands and our pull phase into the center of the stroke. So when actually performing the catch-up drill, we want to make sure that the fingers are entering and slicing into the water as we perform that catch-up part of the drill. Also, allow your body to rotate into that and actually allow the entering hand to pass that waiting hand. And then also, whilst we do want to perform the catch-up part of the drill, make sure that we're not over-gliding, creating dead spots, hands dipping, and make sure that we still got purchase of the water onto the next stroke. Now, there's actually many ways to perform this drill, but the one often suggested and prescribed to beginners is to use a kickboard with the static resting arm and then perform that single arm with the other stroke. Now, this might fill the beginner with a lot of confidence in terms of being afloat and various things, but it's not going to do your body position any favors because not only is this limiting your body movement and rotation, it's also actually going to force your upper body up in the water and perhaps your legs actually sink in the water. So I'd suggest doing away with the kickboard, and the solution here is actually to put your resting arm down by your side, allowing you to get that full rotation around the midline when you're doing the single arm drill. Now, if you are struggling with this, and I probably suggest this anyway, just pop fins on. That's going to help keep you afloat and just give you that confidence while swimming. Now, another issue you might find with the single arm drill is breathing and excessive head movement. Now, suggestion here is pop a snorkel on. That takes that worry or issue out of the equation and allows you to focus on performing the drill well whilst breathing and keeping your head still. So closing your fist when swimming obviously reduces your surface area of the hand as it passes through the water, but it's a fantastic drill for helping you to appreciate that feel for the water and also encourage that high elbow action in your stroke. And as far as drills go, it's a pretty simple one to perform. You simply close your hand into a fist. But just because you have fists at the end of your arms does not mean that you now need to punch the water and make as much splash as possible. Just because your hands are in a less hydrodynamic position should not limit the rate at which your hands enter the water. Instead, the emphasis should now be on using the forearm in the catch and pull. And to do so, you want to make sure you're sliding your closed hand nicely into the water as it passes your head and setting your position up as best as possible for the rest of the drill. Right, it's a bit of a controversial drill. Some love it, others see it as regression. Obviously, it kind of depends on how you're performing it. Personally, I love this drill, but if you're performing this drill with your head up and you're doing this short doggy paddle drill, very little of that really transfers over into your full stroke. Now, what I strive for when I'm performing this is a nice long stroke. So I'm catching at the front of the stroke, I'm trying to get a nice high elbow, and I'm pulling all the way through and extending out by my hip. Okay, and you notice how I'm also rotating whilst I'm doing this. Also making sure that I've not got any dead spots at the front of the stroke, so I'm just keeping that purchase on the water and quickly into the next. Now, with your head You can obviously do it with your head up, but probably best practice is actually to have your head down in the water. You can obviously breathe to the side, or you can also put a snorkel on to eliminate that and make sure that you're just focusing on the drill and task at hand. Now, I'm actually a little bit torn on this drill because personally, I love a good kick set, partly because I get to rest on my kickboard, have a nice chat to some fellow swimmers, and also just not look at that black line at the bottom of the swimming pool for a short moment in a swim set. However, if you're new to swimming or struggling with your body position, as I've mentioned already, using a kickboard maybe isn't the best for that, because by resting on it, this floaty device is actually going to raise your upper body and potentially promote your legs to drop. So instead, I suggest actually popping some fins on and a snorkel, and either have your hands extended in a streamlined position above your head or down by your side, and simply kick. Now, you might want to also play around with different positions. As I said, you can try out different arm positions, or also either kick on your back, still with that same unilateral leg action, although be it on your back, or even on your side with your bottom hand extended, top hand down by your side. Obviously, you won't need a snorkel for that because you'll be able to breathe to the side. And my final point for you, and this is sort of a general rule of thumb, technique is just that. It's all about getting the correct form. Now, there's no prizes for performing a drill quickly, quicker than a previous time you've done it, or worse, trying to perform it quicker than fellow swimmers or teammates that you're swimming with at the time. Pace should not even come into the equation when you're trying to perform drills. You should just simply be performing and concentrating on performing those drills correctly and as best as you possibly can. Also, if you are tired at the end of a set, or you're pushed for time and feeling like you're having to rush the drills, forget drills, because then you are going to be enforcing bad technique. You want to be performing drills when you're feeling fresh and you can do them well and correctly. Now, if you want more details on some drills, then do check out our channel. We've got plenty of videos that run through them in detail. If you want to make sure that you do catch those in the future, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not doing so already. And if you enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up, give it a like. If you've got any more questions, drop in the comment section down below. We'll see you next time.